I read the book The Passage by Justin Cronin, and it is 897 pages long. The main characters are Professor Jonas Lear and a 6-year-old little girl, Amy, and then also Federal Agent Brad Watson. Now, Professor Lear thinks that he came up with this cure for dying and death. So he sets out with a full army to the jungles of Bolivia, but unfortunately almost everyone died from a very, very bad virus, and only a few survived. Then they end up finding like cells, like they kind of keep cells or something from the virus, and Lear comes up with this plan that if he can infect people with this virus, then he'll be able to kind of experiment with his cure of death from dying. So he sends out Watson to go capture people, and one of those people that he wants to get as someone that he can test on is Amy. Now Watson sets out to find Amy, but whenever he finds her, he realizes that he doesn't really want to have her go through this, because once they've infected about 4 people, they found out that they're kind of turning into vampires. They're becoming immortal and hanging from ceilings and drinking blood, and they're don't like light at all a lot. And he tries to save Amy from having to go through all of this. Whenever Amy discovers about everything that's going on with the people that have been infected with the virus, she wants to try and help save the world from the vampires, because they're becoming more and more. And also too, with this, the security for this experiment from the government is also, the people for the security are realizing how dangerous this is becoming, and they're starting to get scared themselves and kind of slack off on their duties. And they're trying to also keep the experiment under wraps, but somehow parts are getting leaked out here and there. This book I did end up liking, but the one thing though that I definitely didn't like is not that it's super long. I didn't mind that at all, having to read a lot, but it's just that it took a really long time to actually get into the book. It started out kind of dry for me. And I also believe too there's more to the series. I know there's at least one more, and I don't think that it needs to be this drawn out. The story itself is very good. I like the concept of it and everything, but I just don't like how it's too drawn out for how the story should be. Now this book, I would give it about 3 stars because I do like it. It is very good. I just don't like how it's too drawn out almost. It didn't need to be that long at all. I personally don't recommend this book if you are not a fan of reading really long books. As you can see, this is a very thick book, 897 pages, and especially I don't recommend it if you're the type of person that you can't read quite a bit until you get into the book. If for your liking for a book, if you have to be 10 pages into it to get into it, this book is not for you. And especially if you don't have a lot of time to sit and read it, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you do have the time, to sit down and read a book this thick, I do recommend reading it. I personally really did like it. It gets very intense at times, and it does grab your attention throughout the book. You have to wait until you get further into the book to get that. And this was my book review on The Passage by Justin Cronin.